Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my talks or whatever, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I talk about politics mostly at the moment, but I'll cover like TV licence and I might cover other things in the future. But this video is going to be about TV licence, but it's not going to be one of the normal ones that I would make because I'm sick to death repeating myself about how to deal with TV licence. So that is not what this video is. This video is talking about the fact that the government have floated the idea of funding the TV licence through people that don't actually use it, but they've got things like Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, and like other streaming services. So you might have like, we're subscribed to Netflix, and to be honest, it's my son that uses it. Do you know what I mean? I don't ever tend to watch TV at all these days. I just use like YouTube, or do you know what I mean? I've got a hobby. Do you know what I mean? I don't watch TV. I barely ever log on to Netflix actually either, so I don't even know why really, like, we're paying an extra subscription to get it on all the TVs, do you know what I mean? Or our different devices, so we should probably just cancel that. But the government are thinking about making people that don't use BBC services but have these streaming services that they are going to have to pay the TV licence, as well as people that actually do watch live TV and do use the BBC services. Now, I think that is just abhorrent and shocking and wrong. So it's like making somebody pay for, I don't know, like a fishing licence or some other kind of license that you need, that they don't ever use that service. They don't go near the BBC, they don't watch or record live TV, yet they're being made to pay for that service. As it stands at the moment, if you don't watch or record live TV, live broadcasters are being shown, and you don't use BBC iPlayer, then you don't need a TV license. So when you pay for the streaming services, you pay Netflix a fee. How can they then turn around, like, how can the government come out with a law that says that you need to fund the BBC when you don't ever go near it and you don't use it? The reason I think that they're doing this is because so many people have cancelled their TV licence over the last few years, because they've realised that the threatening letters are just bluster, basically. A lot of people don't even open them now, and they know that they don't watch live TV, they know they don't ever watch TV really. They might subscribe to Netflix, but they barely use that, so they're not going to pay for a TV licence when they don't need to do it. And you shouldn't do it. If you legally don't need one, you shouldn't buy one, and you shouldn't need to buy one. But the reason that I think the government are doing this is because the BBC are losing revenue because people are cancelling it for that simple reason. But I don't see how that is moral or ethical, or I don't see how that is right in a modern day, forward, progressive, forward looking country, a Western liberal democracy, that you can make people pay for a service that they don't ever use, like something like that, like a television service that they don't use. That is wrong. That is, it's basically, it's state controlled theft, really. Do you know what I mean? If that, but as the black belt barrister has said in his video about it, it's, they'd have to change the law and all that. It's not just a case of you couldn't just do it overnight. They'd have to change the laws and all that, like, around that sort of thing to be able to do it. And I'm pretty sure that they would face intense backlash. He even alluded to, or not suggested, right? He hinted at the fact that it would be akin to something like the protests against the poll tax, do you know what I mean, that happened. So I just don't see how they could change the law to make people that don't use that service pay for that service when they pay for Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus already. It just seems so far-fetched. Like, it is something that I think is that they're thinking about though, but the reality of that I think would be quite different, and I don't think they'd get away with doing that like easily. Do you know what I mean? I think there would be major backlash, and I would hope there would be. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just interested to get people's thoughts on that, what they think. How easy do you think it would be for them to be able to do that? Would they get away with doing it? Would you pay it? Would you just cancel Netflix and all these other services and just refuse to pay? Just be like that, right? I'm out. Do you know what I mean? Or would you comply? How would they enforce it? Do you know what I mean? Would they make it? Would they change the law around the enforcement? Because obviously, as it stands at the moment, like, you don't have to engage with them. Do you know what I mean? And you shouldn't engage with them. I'm not going to go through all that spiel, right? But basically, it's one of the most easiest things to avoid having any contact with them if you don't need to have that license. But if they change the law around enforcement of it and that might be a different story. But again, I can't see them doing that easily, do you know what I mean? Not without backlash and all that. So I'm just interested to hear what people think about that. Give me your comments and let's see what people think. Thanks very much for watching.